Now, this motherfucker is supposed to be a spotter, right? This motherfucker wasn't even holding the bar right. He wanted this lady to, like, get disqualified or, like, just from this competition or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So he fucked around like that. He fucked around with this woman like, this woman could have lost her goddamn life for what he did. You know what I'm saying? And, yeah, he actually got her disqualified from doing that shit. For real though. And he admitted he was a racist motherfucker. And he said he can't stand us. He said he can't stand you pieces of shit. That's what he said. He said that shit. I'm like, that's some crazy shit, man. And that's bro. Anyway, this lady, like, what I'm saying, was a journalist, right? And she, like, sued, like, the people that she was working with or whatever, whatnot, because, like, they had her doing all the fucking work and they didn't do shit. You know what I'm saying? For real though. Anyway, so, yeah, I mean, like, shit, they was trying to take all the credit and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think they fucking did that or whatever. Plus, they lied on her by saying she didn't do shit and they did all the fucking work. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, like, shit, they let her go, and, like, she got, and she, like, sued their ass for discrimination. Because that shit was unconscionable, and she won on her case. You know what I'm saying? She got $4.2 million from that shit, and that's on bro. Anyway, now, these cops, like, got offended from this dude because he was, like, driving and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And they was in the middle of a traffic stop, and they was trying to, like, do something with this, like, traffic stop that they was doing. And this dude, like, drove past them and called them a piece of shit or whatever, whatnot. And that's when they, like, left this other person alone and went to go mess with this dude or whatever, whatnot. You know what I mean? Because they feelings was hurt that shit. You know what I'm saying? For real though. Anyway, so they just, like, start fucking with this dude or whatever. Dude, and one of them said that, like, he, like, was mad that, like, he was smoking weed or some shit. You know what I'm saying? And that shit was crazy as hell. Because he already knew that was bullshit. He already knew that was bullshit. For real though. So, yeah, I mean, like, shit, they up there just, like, detaining them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just put handcuffs on them, put them in a squad car or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? That shit was crazy as hell. For real though. And they, like, actually gave them a motherfucking, like, paper or whatever. You know what I'm saying? For real though, that's some crazy shit, gang. You know what I'm saying? That was some crazy shit. But they also let him go though. You know what I'm saying? And that could have went left like a motherfucker for real though. But you know what I'm saying? It actually did not. And that's on bro. Anyway, so, oh shit. Now, this, like, the cop end up messing with this man or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Anyway, so he messed with this man or whatever and tried to accuse him of having, like, you know what I'm saying, some narcotics up in his ride or whatever, whatnot. You know what I mean? For real. Anyway, so, shit, he up there just looking in his truck and shit up there, you know what I'm saying? And then he, like, detained him and he put some hookups on him, put him in the squad car or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't find shit. He couldn't find nothing or anything. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, he let the dude go. He gave him a piece of paper. He told him he could throw it away or whatever, what the fuck, or whatever, whatnot, you know what I mean? And he said he could just be on his way. Because he didn't have the right to detain him or nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? Because he didn't break no laws or nothing. But he was driving under the speed limit or whatever, whatnot. That's why he stopped him in his car or whatever, whatnot, you know what I mean? But rather, that's how that occurred or whatever. But he just did that shit just to be doing that shit. And that's on bro. Anyway, now, this dude, like, actually got, like, in trouble because this woman, like, actually, like, was delusional as fuck because he took a picture of the motherfucking song or whatever went on, you know what I mean? About, like, public area. And she up there saying, oh, he up there just stalking her. She said he was stalking her, but he wasn't even stalking her. He wasn't stalking her at all. For real though, that motherfucker was like wasn't tased by the police or whatever when I, you know what I'm saying, because he knew his shit. He knew his shit. For real though, the cop up there try to try to talk to him and try to say some more bullshit, but no, he gonna mess with homeboy. He could not mess with homeboy because why? Homeboy ain't doing shit. He wasn't doing shit or nothing like that. And the woman wanted a protection order against him. But what? He wasn't even stuck in her ass. But her ass was so fucking delusional that she made up a story and said he did, and that's on bro. Anyway, now these officers start messing with this woman on this scooter or whatever, you know what I mean? Around them. And it's because she was driving a scooter on the parking lot or whatever, whatnot. And this motherfucker up there saying she was driving her scooter on a motherfucking sidewalk. What the fuck is that? She wasn't driving on no goddamn sidewalk. For real though. Even he wrote on a card saying that she was stopped on top of the damn curb when they stopped her. What the hell is that? That's some crazy shit. For real though, I'm damn. I mean, this shit crazy as hell. For real though. Yeah, they kept on messing with her. For real though, they asked her for an ID and stuff like that, and then they didn't want to give it back to her or whatever when you know what I'm saying? And plus, you know what I'm saying, they was being rude, they was being assholes for real. They was just messing with her just to mess with her or whatever when you know what I mean? For real though. Anyway, and they just actually gave her a ticket and sent her on her way or whatever when you know what I mean? And then it was this other lady or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And she was riding her scooter back to her house or whatever, back to her crib or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And they out there just driving like that, chasing someone or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Followed her back home when she got up in her garage or whatever, they burst into an accident and shit for no goddamn reason or whatsoever, whatnot. You going to jail, what the fuck? All because of because she didn't have a fucking helmet, right? You know what I'm saying? That's some crazy shit. For real though, I'm hell no. They arrested the lady and she made it home. She made it home with her scooter. She was well, I wasn't gonna leave my scooter out there or nothing like that. This lady was disabled too. Or whatever, whatnot, you know what I'm saying? So, she up there just telling people inside the house to tell her son that she getting arrested. For real though. Shit, that's some crazy shit. For real though. She wasn't even on a fucking, road no more. She was in her house. She was right in the garage when they did this shit. And they asses went out of pocket for real. For real, they just arrested that lady just to arrest her. For real though, because it's crazy as hell. For real though, I think they getting sick of looking at the same old faces and they want new motherfucking people to fuck with. That's about it. Now saying, that shit was crazy. That shit was crazy as hell. For real though, I'm damn. I'm that's some crazy shit. That's on bro. Anyway, now this brother, was walking home after he clocked off from his job or whatever, and he worked at Walmart or whatever, whatnot, and he was just walking home or whatever. So somebody called the cops for wellness check. They supposed to do a wellness check on this man or whatever, whatnot, you know what I mean? Anyway, so when they was actually pulling up to this man, trying to talk to this man or whatever, he didn't want to talk. He didn't want to talk at all. You know what I'm saying? All he wanted to do was just go home because he was tired and it was snow down on the ground or whatever, you know what I mean? Anyway, so The cops got offended like a motherfucker because he didn't want to talk. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to talk. You know what I mean? For real though. So they just start grabbing his ass or whatever went on. You know what I'm saying? For real though. They said you walking in the street. You know what shit. He said, "Oh my bad," but there wasn't no cars in the fucking street coming towards him. For real though, the police just fuck with him just to be fucking with him. That's about it. You know what I'm saying? For real though. And they like, trying to detain him, trying to stop him from walking and all that shit. He just wasn't, he wanted to go home. Or whatsoever and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? This dude didn't even have a coat on. Or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? For real though. And they just slammed him down on in the motherfucking snow on the motherfucking ground. And that's some crazy shit, gang. You know what I'm saying? For real though. And they placed handcuffs on him, treated him like a criminal, like they was chasing for motherfucking months or some shit. You know what I'm saying? And they placed some bogus charges on his ass. And that's some crazy shit, gang. And that's on bro. But anyway, like, comment, and subscribe, people. Enjoy the video. Hit the bell on notification so you see my next upload and my next post. And to make sure I make another one tomorrow. And oh yeah, you could check out my previous videos if you like, gang. So long, farewell, goodbye.